Well, hey guys, welcome back to the shop. It's been one of those days. It's actually been one of those weeks. There are just some weeks, some days, some projects that just don't go your way. I had a plan, and you know, the best laid plans, they say, and there's a lot of truth to that. So I put the Odyssey on the track, and that's a double-edged sword because I think I blew it up. So no, I don't think I blew it up. I think it was already blown up and I didn't realize it. So I'll show you that right now. Check this out. Okay, so I don't know in filming this what the track numbers are, so I won't find that out until editing. So I'm gonna make this video. It's already Sunday morning. I'm trying to get this to you this afternoon. So I don't know. We might have set a track record. It was flying. It was doing really, really good. The Odyssey is, I guess, I'm a little more comfortable with the false sense of security of a roll cage and four wheels, and so I was hitting the corners pretty good, and it was taking it, and I liked it. I took the tractor out and I widened a few of the corners and I cut down the berms. We get so much rain here that every time it rained, the water would pool up in the berms, and then that would cost me an extra 2 days before I could ride the track again. Or I found myself up high up on the berm, which is not my natural where I want to run. So I wasn't doing anybody any favors. So I knocked the berms down to more of a flat area, just broaden the corners out so I could swing a little bit wider. And I did that prior to putting the Odyssey on the track for two reasons. One, so I wouldn't have to slow down so much on the three-wheelers, but I know the turning radius on this thing is like a half a mile or something like that. So it worked out really, really well. So I'm excited. I think it could have made a new track record. Track record is 40 flat. I have to go back and look at it. The 84R is the track record, and honestly, I'm probably gonna have to rerun everything. Anytime I make any adjustments to the track, that kind of negates all the previous records. Widen the corners out. I'm gonna be able to take it a little faster on the R as well. But yesterday we run the Odyssey, and so let me tell you about the Odyssey. It's a kind of a funny story. So I did a video about goodbye, and I cleaned it up, and I showed off the Odyssey and all the great things, and I rode it that day, and I made the video, and it was great. And I decided to sell it, so I pulled it out, and I took some pictures. I said, you know, I'm gonna ride it one more time. You know, I hate to get rid of anything. And so I took the pictures, and I went for a ride, and it died. I mean, just died for no reason. It'd been running, I mean, perfect. I pulled it back to the shop, and I diagnosed everything that I possibly could, and the only thing I could think of is it was starving for fuel. That's how it died. It just ran, and it just, that was it. It didn't backfire, it didn't pop, it didn't buck, it didn't do anything. It just, like it ran out of fuel. And so I pulled a carburetor. I thought, well, maybe I sucked up some trash. I've done that 3 times now total. So I pulled the carburetor. It was clean. There was no trash in it. And I thought, well, you know, this thing runs that vacuum pump. You really can't see what's going on. I don't like not being able to see what's going on because it's hard to diagnose a problem. And so I kept messing with it, and I kept messing with it, and nothing changed. It would run, it would fire up, and then just sit there and just stumble and sputter and sput, and you could give it full throttle, choke on, choke off, and that's all it would do. And so I let it sit, and I came back to it the next day, and I fired it up, and it ran perfect for 3 minutes, and it died exactly the same way. And I thought, this is really, really weird. So I let it sit, and I went ahead, and as you see, and I'll show you, I went to a gravity fed system, and I can tell what's going on. I've got an on-off here. It turned out really good. I put an on-off here. I put a clear filter here so I can monitor the fuel, and it goes right down into my carburetor. Now keep in mind, guys, this is a bigger carburetor. This carburetor is for an 85 250R 3-wheeler. It can handle a gravity fed system. So I did that thinking the pulse pump, the tank, the factory tank was the problem, and I put all that on, I fired up, and it runs great for 3 minutes. It does it again. It just stops. It just boom. And so I'm thinking, well, it's got to be ignition at this point. Maybe the coil's getting hot. You know, people talk about coils getting hot, and I've talked about it too on 3-wheelers. This coil is in a really good space. In this particular coil, the factory setup, it's 4 inches over from the head of the motor. The exhaust is on the opposite side. I don't think this is getting hot in 3 minutes, but I went ahead and changed the coil out anyway. On top of that, I ran it. It did the same thing. I swapped out the CDI. You'll see that there's 2 here because I just did a temporary swap, but I'm just running the one CDI. Swapped out the CDI. No change. It ran for 3 minutes and it stopped. Now when I say it ran for 3 minutes, that's after letting it cool completely for like 4 hours. It's bone cold. If I fired it up right now, it would run, but in 3 minutes it's going to shut off. So I'm dealing with a problem that is heat soaking, something that's getting up to temperature and then failing. And so I've come down, I've put it out there, and I recommend y'all do this too. Get out on the forums, join these forums. If you've got an Odyssey, join an Odyssey forum. If you've got an 84 250R or air fooler, join one of those forums. Those are the people you want to talk to. Don't just go out there and blast your problem all over the place until you've tried a few things. And I have tried many things before I did that. I was kind of at my wit's end, and I reached out to the forum and I said, hey, and I laid out the entire problem. I just didn't go on there and go, my Odyssey don't run. because there's no way to help you diagnose a problem like that. You've got to give the guys and the gals on the forums information. And so I explained everything just as I did to you, that it's a heat issue. It's got to be a heat issue. Something happens at the 3-minute mark that causes this machine to shut down because it's hot, because when it cools, it starts back up again. So me and the forum people, unfortunately, we've come down to 2 options. Oh, I've also swapped spark plugs. I've tried all that. So it's either, what we're thinking now is it's either going to be a head gasket or it's going to be crank seals. We're going to check some more things out. Not in this video. This is just kind of a, just giving you an up-to-date, and I'm excited to see what the numbers are on the track. I really think it could be a sub 40 seconds. But today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to put some graphics on, and I want to talk to you about flags. Y'all see the flags around the shop. And I got a new one coming in, or got a new one in, and I got a promotion going on. What I want to do is, for the members, if you've joined the channel, and thank you very much for that, I do appreciate it. If you've joined the channel, I want to kind of pay you back a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to have a drawing the end of this month, May 31st. We're going to have a drawing, and I'm going to pick one of the members, and I'm going to send you a flag. A flag company that I like, I know him as Sammy Flags, but his company name is actually Flag Express. He is kind of the go-to guy when it comes to flags for 3-wheelers. 3-wheelers, ATVs. He does other flags. He does automobiles, cars, trucks, sporting events, sports teams. He is pretty much the flag guy for Trike Fest, which is coming up, guys. That'll be at Father's Day weekend. In Indiana, if you're in that area and you can make it to Trike Fest, you're not going to find any more 3-wheelers anywhere else than there. But his flags will be represented there. I know him as Sammy Flags, S-A-M-I Flags on Facebook. His website is flagexpress.com. Please go by and check him out. If you're interested in a flag for your shop or your trail machine or wherever you may want to put your flag, you may put it up on the flag pole. Most of his flags that I have experienced are 3x5. They are a standard size 3x5 flag. They are awesome. I've got the Honda Hoarders one hanging right up above me. We've got the 200X one back here on the wall, and I got a new one. I'm going to go grab it right now. We're going to open it up. I want to show it to you. Mr. Sammy has sent us a new flag. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? I'd say we got real close to that. Man, that looks good. Okay. We gotta get us some gold wheels for the back, don't we? Give me a minute. We're gonna hang this up. So when you're ready to throw up a flag of your favorite ride, check out Sammy Flags, S-A-M-I Flags on Facebook, or flagexpress.com, the go-to guy for 3x5 flags. Hondas, other brands, cars, trucks, sports teams, you name it, he's got a flag, and he will even take a photo from you. If you want to build a custom flag with your machine on it, send it to him. He'll be happy to help you out, work you up a flag, and get it right out to you. Thanks again, Sammy. I appreciate it, and the flags look great. So like I said, decals really just, you know, bring a project all together. It's the icing on the cake. It really is. So I reached out to Blue Line Graphics. Just, you know, went to their website. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. They are probably the best in the business when it comes to decals, graphics. These are Meyer fenders on the rear, front too for that matter. That's really the best way to go on this. One of the things I like to do, soapy water, a credit card to work, or a driver's license. A squeegee is what I'm trying to get to. If you don't have a squeegee, you probably have a credit card or a driver's license. You can use that too. Just be real careful that you don't dig in and scratch the top of the decal. And so take your time. That's why I like using a soapy water solution. I'll put it on the back of the decal. We're going to lay the decal down, and then we'll squeegee out the soapy water, and it'll be there. All right, guys. So this is real life. This is there's days. I don't even know why I pick up a wrench. They're just some days nothing's gonna go right. But then there's other days things just fall together. So you got to take the good with the bad. I think that's that's a lot in life, especially when it comes to mechanics. There are just some days Murphy's not on your side. You know, that 10mm wrench or socket that keeps missing, that's Murphy. He's playing games with you. Well, Murphy has played a lot of games with me this weekend. I had 4 jobs I wanted to complete this weekend, and I don't think I've completed a single one of them. Nothing has went like it was supposed to. So we're going to salvage this video being one of those. We're going to push through, and as much as I just like to turn the camera off and go inside and do something completely different, we're going to try to salvage this video. Most important thing you can do really is to lay out where everything's going to go, and you'll find that there's subtleties that you may not recognize right out of the gate. These particular number plates that go on the back of these fenders, if you look really close, how round they are on the edges is different inside and outside. And if you look really close here, the fender really doesn't dictate that. So it's going to be kind of up to you to just kind of figure it out, that the larger radius is going to go to the outside and the shorter radius is going to go to the inside. That said, now we have an actual right and left, so they're educated is what my father-in-law buddy used to say. He said that they're educated because one's different than the other one. A couple other things we found out today. Meyer fenders will not accept all of the factory decals. Just found that out like literally 2 minutes ago. Yeah, so if you're wondering, if you have aftermarket fenders, and I know a lot of you do, these decals are not going to fit where they belong. There's just nothing there to stick them to. So you're going to kind of have to come up with either your own game plan. Either don't purchase the factory graphic or find somewhere else to put it. And this machine really doesn't have a lot of graphics on it. This one here is a little bit smaller. It says ATC. It actually goes on the back of the machine, so there's not enough plastic to actually stick that to, which really stinks because I really wanted this thing to look as good as we could make it. So I've got some options, and you will too. You can move this decal up and curve it a little bit. That's not going to hurt the graphic. It's still flat, and that's probably what I'm going to end up doing with it, just because that's the general area of where that belongs. And I think I'll kind of get a slide on that. But as for these up here, that's not going to fly. Actually, I think I like that. Yeah, I think I like that best. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right, so that's the plan. And so I'm telling you, I've just had one of those weekends. Nothing's went right. I'm going to put this out as a video. It's entertainment for y'all. It's been a nightmare for me. It could always be worse. I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's just aggravating. So when I put decals on, well, the way I do it, and I think most people kind of have something similar, especially if you have a big flat decal, is I'm going to wet down the fender or wherever you're sticking it to. Probably going to wet down the back of the graphic too with a soapy water, and that's what I've got in just a little inexpensive spray bottle. It's just dishwashing liquid. And I'm going to actually take the graphic and I'm going to put it on here, and the soapy water is going to allow it to move around, and it's not going to stick immediately. This also works for tinting windows. We're going to take our graphic and we're going to lay it. We're going to get right where we want it, and then I'm going to start in the center of the graphic, and I'm going to squeegee out, and I'm going to push all the excess soap and water out from underneath the graphic or the sticker, and then I'm going to come back to the center. I'm going to do the same the other way after I get it positioned exactly like I want it. Now, that said, if you do it this way, don't go ride your machine. As soon as you get it done, you need to let that the glue and the soap and the water really evaporate and the glue stick, and you'll be good then. But if you do it this way on your car and then go drive 50 miles an hour down the road, there's a possibility that it might not stick yet and it blow off. So you don't want that. So this is how I do it. Start with a really good clean surface. You can use the same soapy water, just a little bit. You want to make sure there's no oil or grease on your plastic. You see, now I washed it off, but it is still a little dirty. So, and some people may say this is overkill. If you're just putting on a Hot 105 FM radio station sticker on, maybe you don't want to do all this. But you know, I mean, if you want it to look good and you want to do the best job you can, this is how I do it. You may find another way, but I like this way. To make sure your soapy water is good and shook up, you got your squeegee. Remember, our graphic is educated. You can just take part of the graphic off. Make sure the whole area where you're sticking it is wet. Some people would try to just put half of the graphic on and then pull the backing off, and that is a way too. But as you see, I lay this down. You just don't want to touch it too much. And this gives you an opportunity to kind of move it around. See how I can move the graphic around and get it right where I want it? But I want to get it as right as I can. Because if you don't, it will show up on you. Alright, so that's where I want it. Now here's the good important thing, is go ahead and wet the top of it too. And the reason you want to do that is so your card, your squeegee will glide. You can get a rubber tip squeegee if you have a real squeegee. We don't have one, so we just want to make sure we don't scratch our graphic. You see my left hand, I'm holding the graphic still. I'm just pushing it out, and I'm going to switch. Again, starting in the middle and working my way out. You can wipe off all the excess, and that's really all there is to it. I mean, there really is. Just want to be careful. I'm going to squeegee it twice, but I want to get all this excess out, and the reason I want it off the fender is so I can see what I'm pushing out. Okay, so now again, I'm just going to put a little bit on here just to kind of break the, I don't want to scratch anything. If you look really close, you'll see any air. See that? See how it perked up a little bit there? And then there it is. You see a little bit of soap come out from underneath it. But always start in the middle of your graphic, especially if it's a big open graphic like this. I'm putting a fair amount of pressure on here. That's why I put the soap on top of the graphic. And the larger the graphic, the more difficult this is to do. See all that water that come out of there? It's wanting to suck some of the water back in. Okay, now like I said, this needs to dry. And that glue needs, the soap needs to evaporate. But as you see, I'm putting a pretty good amount of pressure on it now. It's not going to come off. But I wouldn't go riding right now. I would wait. I probably wouldn't ride, you know, a couple of hours. If it's in the sun, you probably wait just a couple of minutes. But that's it. That's how I put a graphic on. It's pretty straightforward. It's not a lot to it. Just go slow, you know. Make sure it's where you want it before you start squeegeeing out. And I think you'll be in good shape. Because these fenders won't accept this, I am going to use it. I mean, I've paid for it. You can put it anywhere you want, but I think right here, I think the color combination would look good. Here, we could put it out here. I think it might fit there. Roll over just a little bit. Don't put a graphic on the edge, because if it tries to roll over or it gets right on the edge, dirt's going to get underneath it and it will never stick. It'll look good for about a day. So if you're going to take the time to buy the graphics and put them on, you know, try to do a good job, you know. It's not that difficult. You can certainly do it. We're going to just repeat the same process. It doesn't matter how big the graphic is. It's all kind of the same. I like these that have the cover paper. These is a lot better graphic. They're a lot easier to put on. As you see my fingers, I'm not touching the back of it. I'm touching just this paper. It's going to come off. I'm going to center this up just off the edge. I don't want two edges together. So I'm going to take my paper and kind of line it up where I think I want it. See how I can move it around and it's not sticking yet? Basically, I'm just kind of taking an eyeball measurement from the very front edge of the decal to the very back edge of the decal and kind of lining that up. I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to put a little bit more soap on the top, and as you see, just a little bit. The soap gives you time to work slow. If you just threw that graphic on here with no soap, it'd be stuck. You wouldn't be moving it. Again, even if it's a small graphic, start from the inside and work your way out. To my left hand, I'm just keeping it still where it's not going to move. And this is making lemons out of lemonade here, y'all. I know this graphic doesn't belong here, but I paid for it, so I'm going to use it. Hold your graphic down. You can paper towel if you want. Now that is one extra step when you have the cover paper. I like the cover paper because you won't scratch your graphic. When you wipe it off that first couple times, well, again, wipe it off from the middle out. And come back with just fresh water after everything is dry. Come back with just regular water and then wash any of the excess soap off. But as you can see, nothing's moving. Everything is put down where I want it. And we have no air bubbles. And that's what we're going for. And I think that turned out really nice. I think that definitely gives you the look that you wanted, or that I wanted. Kind of finishes it up. So there you have it. There's the video for this week. It's been a challenge, and there are just some days that are just that way, and you just kind of have to push through. And so we did the best we could today, and we're going to kind of think some things through. We're going to get back on that Odyssey. I'm kind of glad I didn't sell it. It really was a lot of fun, and we will get it running right. If I have to pull the engine and go through it, that's what we're going to do. Still waiting on some parts for the LT 250R. Still pretty excited about that machine. We get those parts in, we'll get that one back and going, so that'll be a 2-stroke rebuild. Gonna pull down a 200X. I know a lot of you guys are wanting me to get back on the 200cc engines, the 185s and so forth. So I got a 200X that needs a top end, so we'll do a top end together. But we'll go through the high points of doing a top end on that. So that's upcoming. Got some more 2-stroke content coming. And the 84, we're gonna put it on the track. We're gonna really be testing the gearing. We're going to go to a 14-tooth sprocket, possibly a 15-tooth sprocket, and we're going to see if that gearing makes any difference. It really should. I am running out of gear on the top, on the back straightaway when it comes to gearing. If I pick up any more mile per hours, it's going to be on that back straightaway. So that being said, look forward to that. As always, thank you so much for watching. A big thank you to Sammy's Flags. Y'all be sure and check him out if you want to put some flags up in the shop, or flagpole, or you know, Trike Fest is coming. He is the go-to guy for flags. Sammy Flags on Facebook, or you can find him at Flags Express, and that's spelled X PRESS. There'll be a link down in the description. Be sure and check him out. Tell him that you saw the video. He's been a supporter of mine since the very beginning. That said, I'm giving away 2 flags. One is going to go to our members. Those of you that have joined and become a member of the channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And those of you that can't help in that way, I appreciate you too. Thank you for your comments, your likes, and your shares. I'm going to pick the best comment of any video in May. I'm going to send you out a flag. So be sure and put a comment at the bottom. Please keep it funny, and funny is always better for me. I got a pretty good sense of humor. So you put a funny comment down at the bottom, and May 31st we're going to do a drawing. We're going to give away 2 of Sammy's flags from Flag Express. Thank you again, Sammy. I appreciate it. Big shout out to Blue Line Graphics. Though they didn't fit the Meyer fenders, They're quality graphic. They're the go-to guys to get graphics. So y'all be sure and check him out. Makes a wonderful product. It's very easy to use. As you saw, pretty simple, straightforward process on how I do it. There'll be a link in the description as well. That's it for today. That's kind of a wrap. Those are the products we used. Those are the findings we found. I've got to get in there and see if the Odyssey really laid down a new track record. I think it did. I really do. So look forward to talking to y'all next week. Be sure and put something in the comments. Could win you a flag. Y'all take care.